So the stock market is trending down, oil has fallen below zero, and workplaces are now demanding only essential workers as most of them are trying their best to adapt. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first to tell you we are now entering into what I call phase one of a global recession. Now, there are different stages in an economic downturn. There is a recession, and then there is a depression. But whoa, hold your horses, we're not that far gone. There are different signals that would indicate that we are entering a domestic or a global recession. For example, a country may have been experiencing a lower GDP for more than 6 months, or as we say in business language, 2 consecutive quarters. Now, before we actually announce a recession, this means that the country or the entire world would have been experiencing lower or even negative GDP figures several quarters before. So, what are some of the signals that would highlight that we are now entering a recession? Number one would be the millions of persons that are now filing for unemployment, or the announcement from governments that they will be issuing economic stimuluses, or, for example, here in Jamaica, compassionate grants, which is still an economic stimulus, just worded differently. Now, these stimuluses would have been given to persons who were laid off by their jobs, to business owners that were inconvenienced because of COVID measures depending on the type of industry that they have, and also from the government to business owners that have been completely put out of business because of COVID measures. Another indicator that you may be entering into a domestic or global recession is a noticeable decline in the stock market. This means that the stock market has been trending down, or in other words, we would say it is bearish. This means that it's usually below 20% from previous high prices, and that the trend is actually going down for a significant amount of time. The next indicator that we may be entering a recession is actually a declining housing. Now, this one is pretty straightforward. More people are being laid off, more persons are being sent home, so persons have less buying power. Therefore, the percentage in home sales have actually begun to drop, and this is not necessarily a good thing. Now, with all of this said, not to worry. It really doesn't mean that the world is going to go up into a big ball of flames. In fact, this could be an opportunity for a lot of people. A lot of the world's wealthy persons currently have made their riches during recessions or during times like these. So my favorite quote is, where others see crisis, you need to see opportunities. So now that we've spoken about what signals to look for that would indicate that we're entering a recession, let's talk about the good stuff. Let's get into how we can navigate a recession. So my first word of advice is actually to adapt. Before you begin to make changes, however, we need to analyze exactly what is taking place. This year's recession has not been triggered by financial turmoil, but by the fastest lockdown that the world has ever seen. In other words, this recession wasn't caused by the crash of the financial sector, but actually a global health crisis. This can be observed especially where unemployment is concerned. In a matter of weeks, millions of persons filed for unemployment, and several persons have had to accept pay cuts, either because their company isn't making as much money as before, or they're now working from home and their company probably believes that they're using less resources to get the job done, which is a highly debatable topic. So how do you adapt in a changing environment that is so unpredictable? Well, now is the time to get innovative, guys. So if you're currently unemployed, or if you feel that after looking at several factors your job is highly disposable, put measures in place to relocate funds into what is only needed or what can potentially be an investment to multiply those funds. Have a plan B. Where can you send applications just in case you get laid off? Start researching before you get to that point, meaning before you actually get laid off. Or communicate with your boss. Ask if there are other aspects of the company that aren't necessarily your department, but they can use an extra set of hands. for my entrepreneurs watching, if you're an entrepreneur, redesign your business model, which displays how you make your money. Make forecasts for the next 2 quarters if you can. Bear in mind that because of the pandemic, many people are going to be going through lifestyle changes. So what you want to do is think about your product or your service, and if it's not necessarily needed right now, try to incentivize or try to add additional products or services that are needed. Adjust your delivery methods. Do you usually do a brick and mortar? Now is the time to look up that Instagram password and actually revamp your social media. Now is not the time to cut back on advertising. Okay, guys? In times of crisis, we advertise. Lastly, know your customers. You need to know what your customers are expecting from you during these hard times, and don't assume that a lower price is the only thing that they're looking for. So try to understand by redefining your value and adjusting your product or services to meet their expectations. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Cash Flow Mondays. What was your key takeaway from this video? If you've reached the end of the video, comment Money Mondays in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.